If you're struggling with your CIMA exam prep, then this is the video for you. At Astranti, we've helped thousands of students over the year pass their exams. So what we do in this video is put together our best tips for the revision phase of your preparation in order to help you pass your CIMA OT and case study exams. So without any further delay, let's get into our first tip. And tip number one is going to be active recall. Make sure you're making the most of using flashcards or notes and being really active in your revision process. The reason for this is scientific, of course, and that's because our brains develop knowledge through linking neurons, and a greater number of neuron connections are made when you're actively participating with another level of your senses in the revision process. So, for example, instead of just reading and taking notes, you're adding the physical layer of making notes and thinking about what you're writing and writing it in your own words, and these things combine to create a greater level of understanding and knowledge as an end product when compared to just reading, for example. So make sure you're making the most of those 5 to 10 minutes of downtime throughout your day, for example, on your commute or whenever you're eating your lunch before you go back, to get that little bit of micro learning in and really reinforce those concepts. The next tip is going to link to this, and it's going to be spaced repetition. So what we suggest is that early in your revision stage, you split a module or an exam up into its constituent learning parts. And then you spread these over the timeline of your first few weeks of the revision process. Then we like to combine this with another technique, which is the traffic light system, in order to grade each bit of learning according to a competency. Red for things that you have no understanding of and are concerned about in the exam, and green for things you are confident with already and probably don't need to revise again. That way, after the initial learning stage, we can focus on order of competency, starting with the red topics, moving on to the amber topics, and then finally, if there's time, the green topics before your exam. Tip number 3 is going to be called the teach it back technique. Now this is pretty self-explanatory, so during your revision process, once you have completed a topic, you're going to need to attempt to teach it back to somebody who has no knowledge of what you're teaching. Whether it's using a whiteboard or notes or audio notes, for example, reinforcing that learning is going to be crucial to developing understanding. If you can teach it to somebody who has no knowledge of what you're talking about, then you can most certainly explain it in a way the examiner is going to understand and be able to give you marks for. Tip number 4 is to practice exams under timed conditions. So whether you're using past papers or specially developed mocks like the ones we offer, it's crucial to do at least 2 timed mock exams before taking your exam. Even better if you can get professional marking and feedback like that we offer at Astranti. Follow the link in the description to find out more, as this is going to really guide you and be targeted in developing your answers and your knowledge in preparation for your exams, specifically the case study exams here. Moving on now to our final tips, number 5, which are all going to be exam technique related, starting with time boxing. So this one is pretty basic and easy to understand, and that is working out your marks per minute allocation. So let's say you have a 60-minute exam with 60 marks available, you have an easily calculatable 1 mark per minute. So if the first section is 40 marks and the second section 20, you know that you would have to allocate 40 minutes to the first and 20 minutes to the second to be about correct on your timings. You can of course develop this further and account for competency. So assign more time to questions that you feel less confident with and less time to questions that you know you're going to be able to ace and finish faster than the allocated time would suggest. In addition to this, you want to layer on further techniques. So for example, starting with the easy marks first. This can be a big one in the OT exams, which are multiple choice. Starting with the ones that you know and are confident in will give you a greater amount of time to decide between those 50-50 choices that might come on more difficult topics. As well as this, we suggest to use flagging. So if a question is difficult or taking more time than you have accounted for, then you can flag it and return to it later. This is a great technique to make sure you're hoovering up those easy marks first. So you've got the knowledge and now you know how to sharpen your method and technique. And if you want more study tips like the ones in this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to our channel. And other than that, we'd like to thank you for watching this video and we'll see you in the next one.